Welcome to Secrets of Stand-Up Comedy. I'm Dick Williams. I'm going to tell you everything that I know about stand-up, just as a fellow comic, to try to guide you along so you can be a better comedian. There's going to come a time in your career at which point you'll have to leave all the advice that you hear behind you. Let it just fade into the background because you'll be making your own decisions, your own choices. Ultimately, it's up to you. I've always thought that a singular creative mind does the best work. It's great to have people collaborate, but generally speaking, my own personal taste and my own personal experience is for that to happen afterwards. Afterwards. Why did I say it like that? I need a little drink of my drink. These videos I've been making, they're guideposts. There are certain things that, there are unwritten rules that I felt like you needed to know about. Never steal. If you even get close to it, make sure you clear your name. If you have stolen, apologize, rectify it, put that fire out, take responsibility. Don't be hacky. Don't publicly badmouth other comics. But outside of some of those things, everything I give, they're just suggestions. And they come from a good place because I've tried pretty much everything. I even tried ventriloquism at one point. I love ventriloquism. I spent $10,000 on a Dr. Phil puppet because I was working with Jeff Dunham. And I'm like, why don't you use celebrities? He's like, well, I don't want to get into copyright issues or be sued. So I contacted the number one ventriloquist dummy maker. His name's Tim Selberg, and he made it took a year. He made a Dr. Phil ventriloquist dummy. And then I got it. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. But I'm not really a good ventriloquist. And I thought of it as like a retirement program that I was going to do that at corporate gigs because that way I could be clean. And Dr. Phil was a big celebrity, and I was going to do things. Then I realized, where am I going to rehearse? I can't go up to the Improv, be known for one thing, and then go up there and struggle to try to be a ventriloquist all of a sudden. So I sold it on eBay years later. I was like, I can go on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and just do it with, people. Like, that would be a nightmare. I don't want to interact with the public like that. I don't even know why I went off on that tangent, but I tried something different. I went with my instincts. That's always what I've done. That's what you have to do. Even if everything's telling you no, if you still have that burning fire in you that says, no, this concept that I'm trying to turn into a joke, while it's not getting any laughs now, I know it's funny. Go with that. Figure out a way to get it to work. I look at this channel often as an example or a comparison between what I'm doing here and my stand-up. And I got a lot of advice. I didn't seek outside advice too much, but I got a lot of advice from YouTube channels telling you how to build a bigger channel and do all these things. And I realized a lot of it I just didn't like. It wasn't me. And it would be bad if I did this on my own, the way I wanted to do it, and it completely bomb and not have any level of success. I mean, it's relatively, not even relatively. This is compared to a lot of these other channels. I'm not even a blip on the radar. But I'd rather have that doing it the way that I'm doing it than to do it like everybody else does it and then have it bomb. Which do you think would feel worse? To follow the crowd, to take all the advice, to seem like every other single YouTuber and fail, or fail on your own merit? I'd much rather stay true to myself. If you've watched enough of these videos, you'll know that I made some pretty insane career decisions along the way. But I had to go with my gut. I knew what the contrary opinion was. I knew what people were telling me. No, don't upset this person. Or I used to have people tell me, don't do the bit about your parents dying. You can't, it's too dark for the audience. And when I was hearing that, I was like, well, it does suck going on stage and talking about it to crickets, watching the audience squirm, but I know there's something funny there. And I know it's something that nobody can steal from me. So, against a lot of good advice, I did it, and I got it to work, and I did it on television. You also have to live with the consequences of your choices. That's something that none of us like to do. We like to just think, well, yeah, I'll deal with it, but then it shows up at your doorstep and you're forced to deal with it. You're like, well, I didn't think these would be the consequences. I thought it was consequences in an abstract way. No. It's real life. That's why you have to make peace with things before you act. If you decide one day, I'm not going to that open mic because it's too far, realize that there's upsides to that. You're going to get those upsides, and there's consequences to that. You're going to deal with those consequences. If you realize that you are the center of responsibility for all the good things that are happening, as well as all the bad things that are happening. And I don't even like to use the terms good and bad. I like to say all the things that are working and all the things that are not working. If you realize that you're in charge of that, you're responsible, that allows you to change it. That allows you to get the things that aren't working, working. And I'm not just talking about jokes. I'm talking about every aspect of your life. Of course, there's things out of your control. But there's so much that's in your control. I was on this medication for on and off probably 20 years, an antidepressant. And I look back, like especially the last 11 years, the dosage got so high towards the end. And the doctor prescribing it was different doctors. They thought they were helping me. I thought they were helping me. But I was taking 4 to 6 hour a day naps. And I had a girl I was dating. Her nickname was Bee in Havens. She was great. We reconnected when I moved back to my hometown after, years and years and years and years. We dated in like 96. And she said to me one day, "You're not living, you're just surviving." And boy, that pissed me off. Because she was right. And I had a million excuses. And I didn't realize how much of my life the side effects of this medication had on me. And I'm not telling you to stop taking any medication. I'm not a doctor. Please don't go off haywire consult your pharmacist and your doctor, please. It'd be easy for me to blame that medication for what happened during that stretch of time. Or I could realize I was the one taking it. I was the one who didn't realize at some point, hey, some of these things aren't working. Maybe instead of upping the dosage, I should have them lower the dosage. I was being irresponsible with that. And yeah, I can make excuses and say, oh, well, I'm not a doctor. They should know better than I do. And while that may be true, ultimately, I'm the one affected. I should care way more about my health and the results than a doctor who sees multiple patients. And they're only getting input from me about how I'm doing. So there's all kinds of information I could have been reading up on. I eventually did that because I couldn't, it wasn't sustainable for me. I couldn't keep living like that. So I made a change, and I took responsibility for the things that worked and the things that didn't work. You have so much potential. You have so many opportunities in front of you. The techniques, the suggestions I give you, the advice, find the ones that work for you. The ones that don't work for you, set them aside. Maybe they'll work for you another time. Maybe they won't work for you at all. But when you do that analysis, think, okay, have I given this 10 jokes a day, for example, a real shot? Excuse me. Or am I simply discarding it because I don't want to do the work? Because, again, that will have consequences. Some positive ones. Hey, I'm freeing up more of my time. So now I can write stream of consciousness. And it may have some negative ones. I don't have 10 new jokes a day. I don't have 70 new jokes at the end of a week where, 15 of them are stage worthy. Free yourself. Know that ultimately it comes down to you. No one's going to care about your career more than you do. Nobody. Once you start getting some success, you'll hear a lot of people, yeah, that's my homie. That's my girl. But it's very lonely getting to that point. And that praise only lasts for a very short period of time. It's not because people are not rooting for you. There may be some of that. But all those people, they're on their own journey. They have their own ups and downs and successes and failures and things that work and things that don't work. It's not on them. It's on you. Just as it's on me. We're coming up on 100 episodes of this little podcast. And I'm nervous about what the next part is going to be because I love doing these videos every day. So I'm going to try to continue doing these every day. And I'm going to show the behind the scenes and what the process is for me. And someone wanted me to do like how I come up with a joke. So if that's of interest, I'm going to do it now either way. But I feel this is the crazy thing. So people have asked me, what am I going to do for the 100th episode? Am I going to have like a little celebration? And I'm like, no, because I feel like I've told you I'm going to give you 100 videos to act as kind of a foundation of knowledge, and to be self-referential in that way and self-congratulatory is, I don't know, it seems like I'd be full of hubris. I don't want to do that. So we'll celebrate now. Yay, 100 videos. Woo! We did it, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Like, share, and subscribe, will you? Come on. Please clap.